They are delicate steps, aren't they, Dave? I mean, people would be forgiven for treating this very cautiously, knowing that if they do book a trip to New Zealand and then 1 or 2 cases emerge, then all of a sudden the bubbles burst and then it's off again. They've got to scurry back home.
They are delicate and tentative steps, and the unfortunate truth is they will have to be reversible. That is, if there is a COVID outbreak, if there are concerns, we will have to wind back these easings. And look, I think, this is going to be the situation we're in for some time, where we take steady and incremental steps forward, but we have to be prepared to wind back any new freedoms, depending on how we're tracking with disease, new variants, vaccination rollouts, reaction to the vaccine. I mean, we are really in uncharted waters here, and I think you're seeing a lot of this debate over the vaccine efficacy and vaccine side effects and whatnot. A lot of it is not surprising. I mean, we are in a once-in-a-century pandemic where we've got vaccines into market and into people's arms much quicker than we ever have in the history of a disease before. We're using new and novel types of vaccines, mRNA vaccines. Of course, in a process like this, there are going to be hiccups and setbacks. And the important thing is to, look at what's happening, adjust to the evidence, reiterate, and then move forward again. And that's what we're trying to do through every element, I think, of the COVID-19 pandemic.
What about the idea of home quarantine? The Prime Minister suggesting yesterday that it may well be on for the 4th quarter this year. It does seem like there is a lot of holes in this idea, though. How is it going to work, etc. What do you believe that home quarantine can work?
I do believe it can work. I mean, look, all of this has to be a risk-based approach. So obviously when none of the population is vaccinated, we take a higher level of precaution about incoming arrivals, because that's where most of the COVID-19 is coming from. But if we've got a situation where people themselves have been vaccinated who are travelling overseas, a large share of the Australian population, particularly the most vulnerable parts, have been vaccinated themselves, and then these people are returning, having gone overseas for business or a funeral or a family occasion, then the risk is much different than what we've got now, where someone may have gone to America, which is in the grips of the pandemic, and returned. There's a much higher risk that they're carrying the disease, and a much higher risk that Australians will suffer from it. If we're in a situation, though, where there's high levels of vaccination, lower rates of disease, well, I think we can adjust our settings a little, and that's what home quarantine would allow us to do. But it's going to have to be, obviously, risk-based approach and commensurate with the, it needs to be proportionate as well with what we're dealing with.
Yeah, I don't know how you're going to police it, though. I mean, someone knocks on your door in a room and, leaves the meal there, and, just like in hotel quarantine, you got to open up, there's no contact or whatever. I'm not sure how you police it. So in that sense, there can be leakage if you are infected, of course. But anyway, that's, like you said, conversations.